everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like, and today I'm here to talk to you about my books. The Westwood Legacies series. There are 3 of them, so I guess you can call it a trilogy, but it's not like these are the definitive books in the series. I could totally write more in the future, I just don't have any plans to do so right now, but this is a series of companion novels. They're all dark academia in vibe, though the genre is a little bit different for each of them. And I figured that now that I've published 3 of these books, I should tell you about them and the reading order and things like that. So that's what this video is for. These books are, like I said, dark academia, but the first one, Revelry in the Dark, leans a little bit thrillery. The second one, Jenny Was a Friend of Mine, is a little bit more of a straight mystery. And then the third book, Exquisite Corpse, is kind of in the horror vibe, but they all are very similar in themes, so that is why they are a series. That and the fact that they revolve around this school called the Westwood Conservatory, hence Westwood Legacies. The first 2 books take place at the conservatory, and then the third book doesn't take place there, it takes place somewhere else, but the characters are all graduates of the school, so that's how they're all tied together. Other than that, they don't really have anything connecting them. They are companion novels and therefore can be read in any order, whichever ones sound the most interesting. I will say they are chronologically written though. So Revelry in the Dark takes place first, Jenny Was a Friend of Mine several months later, and then Exquisite Corpse several months after that, so there might be some Easter eggs, maybe a couple of spoilery lines for previous books, but you really can read them in any order. So starting off with the book that kicked off everything, Revelry in the Dark. This is my debut novel. I published it in September of 2023. She clocks in at 359 pages. She's the thickest of the bunch, and I'll just read the back blurb for you for all of them, but obviously starting with this one. So it says, "The best time for a fresh start is during the crisp, clean autumn. At least that's what Georgie Miller keeps telling herself. After the death of her father the previous spring, Georgie's anxiety hit an all-time high, forcing her to leave the university she had been enrolled in. Now she has the opportunity to attend a different school, following in her brother's footsteps at the prestigious Westwood Conservatory. The school is known worldwide for 2 things, the rigorous academic standards to which it holds its students, and the numerous stories of the ghosts that haunt its campus. As a transfer student, Georgie attracts the attention of everyone at the school, including the enigmatic Professor Decker and his esteemed yet reclusive teaching assistants. The question at hand, will Georgie be able to get the fresh start she so desperately craves, or will the ghosts that haunt her, old and new, drag her into the darkest depths of her insecurities?" So, this is the book that, like I said, started everything for me, not just the series, but my publishing career, and it has a very special place in my heart. All 3 of them do, but this one, as the first, definitely has a larger piece, I'll say. The title is a reference to My Hero Academia, which is a little bit weird, but is a phrase that a character says a lot, and at the time that I started writing this, which I believe was 2020 or 2021, I was into My Hero Academia, and so that was a phrase that I was hearing quite a bit. It was 2020 because it was when I first started my channel. It was when I first started working on this story. So that is what the title means. It is split into 4 parts, each part taking place during a different month, so September, October, November, December. There are so many fall time activities, like fall leading into winter. The vibes are just immaculate, if I do say so myself, and I really love this book, and if you are unsure of where to start, if all of them kind of sound interesting, I would recommend starting with the first one. If you're looking for something on the shorter end of things, then I would recommend going for Jenny Was a Friend of Mine, the title of which is a reference to the song by The Killers. This is a novella, and it clocks in at 137 pages. I know as the author I should know how long my books are, but I do have to check the actual page count, so I will read the back of this one as well. It says, "Jenny Anderson and Kelly Green are more than best friends. Like binary stars, they're inseparable. Of that one thing, Kelly is certain. Where one goes, the other follows, and when one of them does need a moment to herself, the other understands. Slow to argue and quick to forgive, nothing could come between them until one day Jenny doesn't come back after the two have a fight. The police aren't saying that foul play was involved, but they aren't ruling it out yet either. Kelly is the number one suspect in their eyes, but she is far from the only one. In the wake of tragedy, Kelly is forced to confront not only the secrets she'd been keeping, but the ones Jenny had been holding on to as well. So, very dark. This one is a lot more emotional, I'd say. It really delves into themes of grief and anger, and like I said, it's quite short, and this made my critique partner Marta cry 3 times despite the length. So if you're looking for that kind of read, definitely check this one out. And finally, we have my most recent release, which is Exquisite Corpse. This came out just 2 months ago, and this is so fun. It definitely leans more into the horror vibes than the other two books, which wasn't intentional, but then my first round of beta readers were like, wow, this is really good horror. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I should lean into that a little more. So I did. Exquisite Corpse is the title of a very popular horror novel from I think the 90s. I didn't know that until after I had already named my book, and then I heard about that book. The reason I named this Exquisite Corpse is because Exquisite Corpse is the name of a like artistic game of sorts. I know writers have done it. I know like artists who draw like physically have done it, where one person will, let's just use writing for an example because that's how I've done it, write like a line of poetry and then hand it off. The second person reads that line and then writes their own and then folds the paper so that the third person to get it will only see what the second person wrote, and then the fourth person will only see what the third person wrote. Then you go around, and then at the end you have this exquisite corpse is what it's called, and it's just a really fun exercise, very interesting, and I think it applies well to the story, so that's what I went with. But let's read the back so you have a better idea of what's going on. Old houses have old secrets. With 7 creative minds all under one roof in a stormy and secluded New England town, ideas and personalities are bound to clash. Jude Bowden has always wanted to be a writer, but they've never had much confidence in themselves or their works. Even after being personally selected by an old professor, Mitch Woolard, to join him and several other Westwood Conservatory alumni on a strange and experimental horror project, all Jude can focus on is how much more experienced and prolific the others are. But a fear of inadequacy is not all Jude has on their mind. There's also the locked door on the second floor of the old house. Everyone is intrigued by it at first, but pretty soon Jude is the only one who cares about what, or who, is being kept behind it. When a monster from Jude's childhood and the monster from this new horror project begin to collide and take on a terrifying new face, Jude is left to wonder how much of what's going on is their fault and how much blame is to be placed on the monster. So, super fun. I had a great time working on this and really like leaning into all of the horror of it all. So, that's more your vibe. Definitely pick this one up. This is a much more winter vibe. It takes place in January, so when things are very isolated and cold. So if that's the kind of setting you're looking for, highly recommend. And there we have the Westwood Legacy series. Hopefully now if you're thinking of getting into it, you have a better idea of where you want to start off with it. You can also just get all 3. Look how nicely those spines are going to look on your shelf. They are also available on Kindle Unlimited if that's your vibe, so you can check them out there. As of right now, I don't have any plans on adding more books to this series. I do have an idea for a book that follows a character that we meet in Revelry in the Dark, but it's not like fleshed out or anything. It's literally just like the spark of an idea, and I'm open to writing other books in this world. It's just not my main priority now, but maybe one day it will expand beyond these 3, in which case I'll have to make an update to this video, but for now, these are what I have to offer you. So if any of this sounds interesting, please let me know in the comments, and I would love to gush more about my books. You can ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer them and hopefully not spoil things for you, because I think going into a book blind is pretty fun. But with that, we have come to the end of this video. So if you've enjoyed it and are excited to read these books, please be sure to give this a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone.